All right, Mr. Stevens. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your back cushion off the back. Just pulls right off with Velcro. You're going to pull your bottom cushion off. When you pull your bottom cushion off, you're going to have a metal pan, and you'll see. I already took it off, but you'll see 4 screws. There'll be one on each corner. There'll be one here, then there'll be back here and back here. You can't miss it. It's the only 4 screws. You remove those 4 screws, and then you'll see this. Once you pull those 2 metal pans off, you'll see this setup. You will have these side rails here as well. I believe you can keep them on, but for this purpose, I already had them off because I was modifying this chair for somebody else. Okay, so once you have the pan off, like I talked about, you can keep these side rails on here. You will have your side rails. You can keep them on. What you want to do is you want to come over to this panel. I already unscrewed the screws just to make sure I was doing the right thing. You're going to have these 2 small screws. You're going to have one here and one here. It's going to have like a rounded head on top. You can take those screws out with a little washer. You know, unscrew them, take them out. And the next thing you're going to do, there are 4 screws on this panel that are unmarked. Everything else has a B or an L next to it. But if you look, you have these 2 in the middle, and then you have 2 just on the outside of it. These 4 are unmarked. There's no letter next to it. There's nothing. Remove those 4 screws. Obviously, you'll have to unscrew it. You can't just do it with your hand. Remove those 4 screws. Now, once you've done that, this panel can lift off. Once you have this panel off, then what I need you to do is basically you want to make sure your seat doesn't fall backwards when you take those screws off. I don't know where your placement of it is, so you might want to have somebody hold the back when you do take those 4 screws out, just to make sure your whole seat doesn't tilt back. It shouldn't, but just in case. Now once you have it here, what you can do is you can literally come from behind the seat. I put the arms up just to make it easier, but you can come from behind the seat and you can shift it forward. And you would shift it forward until those same 4 holes that you took the screws out of then line up with a hole underneath. And then once you have that, put your cover back on, put those screws back in, the 6 screws we talked about, put your pan back on top of it with the 4 screws that you're going to take off on each corner, put your cushion back on, put your rear cushion back on, and that should do it. So right here with this chair, I was able to move it forward an inch, which I think would be more than sufficient for what you need and your purpose. I wouldn't go too far because then it might throw off the balance of your chair. But that is how you do it. If you have any questions, give me a call.